Hi everybody and welcome to the Helen Winder Show. I'm Helen Winder and my guest today is John Cassidy, the headshot guy. Hi John.
Hi Helen.
Thanks so much for coming along and meeting with me. It's
Pleasure.
lovely to meet you. Because I know we've been connected for years, haven't we, online?
Yes, yes.
But we've never actually met face to face.
Now with digital we've been connected but never ever met.
No.
So,
Quite strange really, isn't it?
It is.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Well, I'm as you said earlier, I'm the headshot guy. That's a brand that has been built up over the past about 4 or 5 years. I mean, I've been a photographer all my life. I mean, I left school when I was 18 and joined the Royal Air Force and served as 17 years in the Royal Air Force as a photographer.
Okay.
Everyone says, well, photographer in the Royal Air Force, what do you do? And so I did a range of photography. You know, we got trained in doing, started off as a darkroom technician, doing lots of reconnaissance type, processing and printing reconnaissance imagery, and then sort of, excuse the pun, sort of developed more of an interest in photography and actually taking photographs.
Yeah.
And then they ended up doing all their public relations work. So I was at High Wycombe, just not too far from here, and covering sort of exercises and operations, travelling around the world, and sending pictures out to the newspapers and magazines and things like that. And then I left the Air Force in '99, and because of the connections I've made up with the newspapers, I started freelancing for the Times, photographing a lot of sports and sports celebrities, so a lot of people photography, which is what I was, gearing up to anyways. I always enjoyed the people side of things, really, meeting people. Although we were trained in all sorts of aspects of photography when I was at the Royal Air Force, from defects to still life and things, I actually, really like the people side of things.
Yeah.
And so, I spent 8 years working for the Times as a freelance in 2008. The sort of, everybody started to cut back as well as the newspapers, and I sort of left really starting to think, actually, what's the next thing to do? At that time, it was when social media, was starting to come into effect. More and more people were starting to use, eAcademy as it was then, and LinkedIn and Twitter and all these Facebook things. And I saw there was a gap in the market there for people. Everyone had a space for their profile photograph, and most people were using, an anonymous silhouette or something dreadful. And I saw a big sort of, potential there, and started focusing the business really on that. So the journey over the last 4 or 5 years has been quite an interesting one, with a sort of a goal in mind, but obviously that goal is, there's never a straight line from A to Z. But we've got a good focus on where we're taking the business now.
Excellent.
Lots of exciting stuff's been happening this last year, and 2015 is going to be brilliant.
Excellent. So, what is it about our profile pictures, our headshots that we have on our profiles? What is it that's really important about it? Why should we have a professional photo of ourselves?
Well, I mean, as we said earlier, we've never met before, but I know your face and you know my face just from online, from digital.
Yeah.
People are curious, they want to see who you are. When you speak to someone on the phone, if you don't know them, you get a picture in your mind of what you think they look like, from the sound of their voice, from the way they talk. And you find when you actually meet them, they're nothing like that. After time, you look so different from how you sound. So this helps, in a number of different ways. It helps identify who you are and put a face to the name. And it also helps, if you've got a great image, it helps people get a sense of confidence, a sense of trust in you and what you do. Sense of the professionalism. A lot of people are, they're charging lots of money for their services, so people want to make little ticks in boxes that they actually look as if they want to, they can be charging that sort of their rates and things like that. And it's that satisfies that curiosity. So it's a whole sort of and also having a great headshot. It's not for other people, it's for yourself as well. Because once you've got a great shot that you love, you want to use that and and you get so many comments coming back about that, oh, great shot, love your photograph, and things like that. That makes you feel good inside, and that just puts you on another level as well. So
it does, doesn't it? Yeah. It builds your confidence when you post your picture on your profile, LinkedIn, or your website, or Twitter, or wherever it might be. You're out there, and you're portraying a positive image, portraying your brand.
Your face is your brand. A lot of us. Well, I mean, the celebrities. I mean, their face is their brand, and it's no different for us in business. And people, look at us and they recognise us by our faces. So
it's true.
It's the perfect brand.
Yes, I must admit it's quite strange when if I'm out and about, people will stop and I know you from somewhere, and you think, okay, is that good or is that bad? But when you're in business and you have visibility on so many platforms, if people just Google a particular phrase, you're going to come up there.
You want the right images to come up as well. You want to be seen professional, credible, approachable. The two things I'm looking for is confidence and approachability. So I've got a number of tips I give people when I'm photographing to get that out.
Yeah.
So,
that's good.
Because most people hate having the photographs taken anyway, so they'll just stand like a rabbit in the
headlights.
Like,
what is this thing?
Whereas the sessions I take people through a sort of process really to get the best out of them and tell them what they should be doing in front of the camera.
That's very true. Do you do the
No, you don't. No, not at all. The chin clutch, that is one of my pet hates. So it's when I see someone there. I still have people coming in like, no, don't do
your
that.
head's not going to fall off. You're fine.
But there's a few other sort of pet hates I've got with photographs, but it's about the face. Another one is photographers that actually they got their portrait, their headshots, and they've got the camera in the shot as well. The problem though.
It's you at the end of the day that we all connect with, isn't it? And buy from ultimately.
Definitely.
Fantastic. So you're where you are, and 2015 is going to be the year. And you know what? I've actually had quite a few people say that to me. Just we feel it. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's a special number. I don't know. But along the way, has the journey been smooth, or has there been a few little lumps and bumps, or that you've had to learn from and adjust to, or do you want to share?
You're always learning. I mean, I didn't start. I started off as business, but I wasn't. I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur. I've learned the skills to become an entrepreneur. I'm more of an entrepreneur now than running a photography business. It's been it's a long journey. I wouldn't say I've had any. It's just been focused and just believing in there's something there. And there is a huge market there for us. I think that the frustrating thing is how to break into it and how, because it is such a big market there. And one of the things that people ask me for some tips. One of the things is to niche, is to micro niche. I mean, I started out as what could have been a general photographer, doing and offering to do weddings and babies and portraits and family stuff and all that. And I didn't want to do that, So I sort of, from fairly early on, I took a step just to, the big step for me was changing my name initially from John Cassidy Photography to John Cassidy Headshots.
Okay.
And that was like, and that was like, but that was one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah. And
then since then, the brand has changed now to the Headshot Guy.
Yeah.
Which came about because that's what other people were calling me. So it wasn't. That wasn't. And it was like a light bulb moment when somebody said, somebody put up my picture at an event and said, and asked the rest of the audience, who's this? And he said, oh, he's the Headshot Guy. And he's like, duh. He's just like, so immediately got all the, started making sure that I got that brand, got the domain names and registered the trademark as to protect that, because that's so, it's such a cool, a cool name.
Absolutely.
And again, it's what other people will call you, because that's what it's all about. Your reputation is what other people will say to you. So it's been, it's been a great journey. I don't think I've had any problems. It's just been keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing at it, and tweaking things as we go along. And now we're in a position now where we're franchising the business.
Oh, fantastic!
So I've got investors on board. I've got a business partner on board. So we've got a whole, from this time last year. Now we've got, we're in a position now. We've got a fantastic, business partner. Ian is my managing director now for the company.
Wow.
And we've got two investors. Both Ian and another investor signed a huge franchise people. They're from a really successful franchise business. And then Neil's my tech entrepreneur as well. And we've got two people already sort of really just about to sign the for the first franchises for next year. That's what I say.
Wow. So
and everything's just in place now. So 1st of January we're going to be rocking on with that.
That's
so,
fun. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant to hear such a journey and seeing it really growing. And taking on a life of its own, which I think when you franchise, that's what it's really starting to do, isn't it?
Yes,
That's absolutely fantastic. It's good.
Yeah, really exciting. Really exciting. Scary as well.
Oh, yeah.
But
sometimes you need that little bit of a scare to sort of keep it going.
We just keep on edge, because we have got a lot of work to do. But so with the people, building the team around you, and I think, because it's just grown. I mean, I wanted to get myself in a position where I was oversubscribed. So I was having, almost, not to turn work down, but having too much work. And I think once you're in that position, then you know you've got a good, the model's working, the business model's working. You're not having to worry about that next month or whatever, because you've got those bookings in place, and that's been happening for the last 18 months, since July 2013. My sort of business went from working mainly with individuals, individual entrepreneurs, business professionals, to more companies. And the companies is where we're sort of aiming at, because that's where the repeat business is, bigger companies. One of my clients at the moment, I'm in there, virtually one day every month.
Okay.
At the moment, for about 40 people at a time, they've got 2,800 people in there, and it's getting into places like that. Then that's our sort of,
exactly. And then once you've delivered and they like the product, then they'll come back.
And they've got to keep that. They've got to keep their results consistent. And every time I go in, they put the list up and that gets oversubscribed. So well, we need you in for another day and another day. So, and it's actually it's nice now, because 4 or 5 years ago when I started, I was trying to tell people why they needed a professional headshot. And now people, I don't need to tell them, because they know now that they need one. And
do you think that social media has helped with that, by getting the message across? Somebody has a photo taken by you, and I have to say, everybody, they are very good. They really are. You really do capture the person and what they're about. And obviously, when they then post that picture on their, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it might be, they'll talk about it, and then they tag us in, don't they? So
Well, it works a number of different ways. I mean, people, tag me in so that ties me in with having that, being the producer of that photograph, really. But then other people, they link up, and I mean, a number of clients that put up the photograph, and they'll get a connection. They'll get somebody that contact them they haven't spoken to for ages, just because that photograph. And then that conversation. There's a saying that conversations transactions, you
Yeah.
know, and you never know what that transaction's going to be.
No, absolutely.
So, you know, saw your picture come up that reminded me to talk to you.
Yeah,
So it's a good idea to keep, you know, a bit of a change in photographs, you know,
Yeah.
to keep it, freshly updated.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I know just recently, I think you did some work with Thomas Power.
Yes, yeah.
And Scredible.
Yes.
And obviously seeing that and him tagging you in,
Yeah.
and I think there was a conversation. I suddenly started to think, I want John on my show,
Yes.
and that's how it started
Yeah.
to come about again.
Yes,
It's quite
yeah.
interesting, isn't it?
It is, you know, it's sort of connectedness. I think
Yeah.
that's one of Thomas's words, actually, connectedness.
Connectedness,
isn't it?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're all getting more and more connected.
Yeah. And that's the way it has to be. That's business, isn't it? And life.
Yes, yeah, well, it is life. It's networking. You know, I mean, the social media obviously helps us to keep in touch with people. You know,
Yeah.
a lot more. You
Yeah.
know, a lot more easily if you got the. You know, that's the only thing is social. It is a big time
Yes.
constraint. You know, it can suck up an awful lot
Yes.
of your
What
time.
are you doing at 11 o'clock at night, Mummy? Just having a tweet, you know.
Well, business is 24 hours now, 24/7. It's, you know, I like weekends because I do work at weekends. I like to catch up at weekends on emails and things because I haven't got I don't have a 9 to 5 day. You know, every day is different for me because I might be, you know, travelling up to London, or I've just got back from Edinburgh, been up there for 3 days doing headshots up there for a company. So I don't know where I'm going to be, you know. But what I do like is over the weekend, a quiet couple of hours, because I know there's nothing coming in, so I can, you know, do some emails and bits and pieces. But what's really strange is if I answer an email on, you know, a silly time in the evening and send it, and then get a reply back 2 minutes later and think, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, and I've taken bookings in at sort of, you know, 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning from people, but it's like, you know, people that don't work for themselves, and, you know, people that I meet, and you tell that to them, they think you're mad.
Yeah.
You know, they think you're mad, but just, you know, that's the way it is these days.
That's the way it is.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. But I think actually it's probably been the same for many years, hasn't it? You know,
Yes.
if you want to get somewhere, you want to be a success, you have to put in that time.
You do, yeah, and that's that is time is probably I think that's one of the biggest issues is time. You know, the biggest problems is time and how you allocate it.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a family as well. I mean, I've got an 8-year-old daughter, so, you know, you want to spend time, you know, with the family. You know, it's one of the things I've learned. One of the big lessons, you know, that another tip is to try and outsource as much as you can. You know, as quick as you can, because you know, if it's taking up your time and it's cheaper to actually send that out to some other people to do.
Yeah.
You know, I outsource all our editing to outsource. We've got teams of people to do all our editing, so that's all done.
Yeah.
You know, other things that I outsource as well, and it just really, you know, it takes some of the pressure off me to be able to, you know, devote my time to doing what I enjoy doing, what I love doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you were skilled in absolutely everything, then fine. But we're not, and to be able to apply ourselves to the main core of the business and deliver, you know, the photography or whatever it might be.
Yes.
You can't do everything.
No,
So
no.
building that team.
We've all got, you know, our skill sets, you know, where we're in our zone, where we're comfortable at.
Yeah.
You know, although we can do other stuff, and a lot of people, you know, when you're starting in business as well, it's you want to be doing everything as well because it's your baby. You know, you want to. I can't trust that. You know, I can't trust other people to do that. But as soon as you start to let go of things, then you think, wow, you know, what else can I let go of?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I need to be, you know, ideally spending 100% of my time behind the camera.
Yeah.
You know, as that Pareto, you know, 80-20, so 80% of the time, you know, I'd like to be. I think, you know, a lot of people in business, that 80-20 is a great analogy because, you know, I'm in a position now where I'm 80% of the time is behind the camera, you know, paid but the 20% is the, you know, is the other stuff that I do.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people I think they get into a rut of sort of only spend 20% of their time doing what they're actually getting paid for, and 80% rushing around doing other stuff.
Yeah, and then the stress levels, everything starts to set in, and it's a vicious circle because it then starts to backlog, doesn't it? And getting rid of some of that pressure is hard, really hard. So and
it's always that balance as well, because you know it's nice to be in a position now to be able to do that and realise that actually it's cheaper to do that.
Yeah.
You know, but again, when people are starting up with budgets are tight and then they're trying to do everything themselves because they think, you know, because they don't. I think some people don't actually value themselves, and you know, and actually work out what their hourly rate is.
Value your worth is very important.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, when I work with people and I mentor, it's one of the things we go over is your value.
Yes.
You know, what is it you're worth? Because you deliver all of this, and there's a value there.
There is.
So yeah, it's understanding
huge value,
and it's a big step to start actually realising that you are valuable.
Yes.
So it's quite a step for people.
The whole business is. I mean, I love it. You know, I think another learning is actually learning to become a business person from a photographer. You know, because when I worked for the Royal Air Force, worked for the Times, then it was a case of the phone would ring. Off you go, do the job, come back, send images in, send an invoice in. You know, that's it'll work nicely. Then you have to start finding the work yourself as well. Yeah. And learning to become an entrepreneur. Yeah.
And waiting for that phone to ring is slightly different when it's your own.
Yes. Yeah. It's sort of rather than because it doesn't ring off the hook.
No.
It's but so we're building this brand, so we were getting quite a few inquiries coming every day.
That's brilliant.
So and that's again, it's all just rolling forward. It's all just sort of growing organically.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted as well. Is just in fact the guy that I've got on board. I mean, we as one of my investors, we spoke a number of years ago, and at the time he saw the potential of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't at the time because I didn't really have. I was still sort of in that 20% of the time behind the camera, as opposed to 80% trying to work out what we're doing.
Yeah. And you're in it, so it's very hard to see from the outside how things could actually be. It's different, isn't it? Because we're so focused forward. We've got to get this done.
And then stepping back and allowing yourself time just to. And I like going away and going somewhere just completely different. And I got so much. First time I'd taken the train on the job because I went up to Edinburgh in December. I didn't want to take the car. Yeah. And I sat on the train and I had 8 hours, 4 hours up and back. Yeah. And it was brilliant because I just sat down and got on with so much stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and just planning, working, on the business and the stuff that we need to get, for all the franchisees coming on board.
Yeah, it is good to just take yourself away and just be able to think and breathe. Yeah, we're always looking for that. Sometimes it's difficult because it's always analogy was looking for a gap in the woods, but it never comes. Never quite there. No.
There's always something else come along, but it's once you get a little gap and then it just makes you feel so good as well.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. You achievement and satisfaction and also vision. You can see it clearer, can't you? Yeah. So, what would be your top 3 tips to people who are either just starting out in business or in business and maybe just a little bit stuck and not quite able to just move forward? What would be your top tips to them?
My top tip is niche.
Mhm.
You know, pick a micro niche, or you know, an area where it's easier for you to become known for what you do.
Yeah.
You do it really well.
Yeah.
You know. You know, for my example, you know, photography, there's all sorts of types of photography that you could be doing,
Yeah.
and I've niched down into one area of that. That doesn't mean to say that I don't get phone calls, can I do, or do I do weddings, or do I do other stuff, but it gives me a choice then to say no,
Yeah.
or yes.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is always no anyway, because I generally don't do other stuff, you know.
No.
Headshots is my
Your forte.
my one thing that I do. So that's, you know, and obviously picking a niche where it's, you know, where there's going to be, you know, there's opportunity there,
Mhm.
you know, and you know, something that you love doing as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a triangle. You know, love what you do, be good at what you do, and get paid for what you do. And if you can hit all three of those,
Yeah.
then that's, you know, that's a happy, you know,
Yeah.
that's a happy place. You know, a lot of people, you know, hit two of those. You know, they're good at what they do and they get paid well, but they don't actually like what they do.
Yeah.
Or some people love what they do, they're good at what they do, but they just can't get the money for what they
Yeah.
do. So to try and hit all three of those points, it is difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Second thing is getting the name of your business right.
Mhm.
You know, there's a guy called Paul Dunn, an Australian marketeer, and I always remember I went to a conference with him once, and I always remember him saying about the name of the business, and it sort of, it went back there and it sat there for a little while until, you know, the headshot guy, bang, you know, and it's like, actually, you know, because I've got the shirts branded and all that, and I was doing an event at the Excel a couple of weeks ago, and you know, just wearing the T-shirt, and it was actually in the main foyer, in the main sort of entrance sort of place there, and somebody came up to me and said, great brand.
Yeah.
You know, didn't even know what I was doing, you know, because I was at another event, and just, you know, so people, you know, if people can say that, you know, does what it says on the tin.
Exactly.
You know, that Ron Seal thing.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, another tip. And then I guess the third one, again, we mentioned it, as outsourcing. Try and outsource and get rid of stuff that drains you.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. You know, radiators and drains. You know, the stuff that drains you, the stuff that you hate doing.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that you're not good at doing. You know, I think we all, you know, want to be involved in everything right from the very start.
Yeah.
Because it is your, you know, it is our baby, isn't it? Your business is your baby.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
but as soon as you can start to let go, you know, then life makes life so much easier.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we've got niche.
Niche.
It's knowing what you're about, what you're good at, what you love doing, and focus down rather than doing everything.
Yeah.
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 Second one,
Name.
Absolutely. Gosh, yes. You know, if somebody can be called something really obscure, but you look at him, well, what is it you do?
Yeah.
And people are not going to pick up the phone if they don't know what you do.
No.
So really important. And outsourcing.
Outsource.
Perfect way to grow your team and to grow your business. You know, marketing, social media, PA assistance, diary management, call handling, doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes some of the pressure off you.
Yeah.
You know, you've got all this stuff coming in, you actually, you know, I mean, it's like a company. You know, a company, you work for a company, you do a job.
Yeah.
And you've got people that take care of the accounts, people that take care of the payroll, people that take care of, you know, the admin, the HR.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they've got their departments.
Yeah.
So if you outsource, just think of them as your marketing department,
Absolutely.
your HR department, your accounts.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, does it? But it does make a huge difference because then it releases you so that you can focus on the business.
But then you can start to say, you know, you can start to think yourself bigger as well because you've got a team and it's us. Then it's, and I've always said, you know, we.
Mm-hmm.
As a business,
Yeah.
it's we. Or it's me,
Yeah.
but I've always said we.
We, yes.
You know, and that implies something bigger. And
Mm-hmm.
when you've got other people that aren't part of my team,
Yeah.
you know, our team, you know, they're integral to our team, you know, what we do now.
Absolutely, but when you talk we and bigger, in here,
Yeah.
we are feeling that, aren't we?
We
We're delivering that, and
Yeah.
and it means that we're not restricting ourselves.
Yes, yeah.
So it makes
Yeah.
it does make a huge
Yeah.
difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've always done that myself.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, I've never seen myself as just me.
No.
It's always been including others,
Yes.
and then, you know, going forward, I know that my end goal is going to happen.
Yes.
I'll get there. I'll figure that along the way, but that's
yeah.
what we do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that route won't be, as you said, you know, straight A to Z. There's
Mm.
going to be ups and downs. There's going to be, you know, times where, you know, times where you think, actually, is this worth it?
Yeah.
I think
Few roadworks, as I call them.
yeah, roadworks, definitely, yeah. I think having that goal in mind as well as a fourth one, having that end goal,
Yeah.
you know, think really where you want to be. And then if anything comes in there, and again this niching thing as well, if you've got an end goal in sight, then you can decide if anything comes in, then you've got a choice then.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, everything that comes in now, I said, well, is this going to take me to, you know, where we want to be? You know? We want to be, you know, the nation's recognised brand for headshots.
Yeah.
You know, so if anything comes in, you know, is that going to take me there? No, it's not.
No.
So no.
Yeah,
You know, it's
absolutely.
That's going to, and also, you know, it's going to drain more of my energy because I'm really worried about doing that because I'm not, you know, headshots is, you know, is what we do.
But also, you know, the other things that could come in, they could distract you, and they could
Yeah.
actually not cause. What's the word? You could miss the right opportunity.
Yes, you could do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, and listen to people on the way as well.
Yes.
You know, listen to, because you might have the great, you know, the best business idea in your head, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And don't be worried if someone says, well, actually, maybe you need to tweak it slightly. Sometimes, you know,
no, that's what you do.
the old wise owl, you know, you have to
Yeah.
listen to them sometimes. It's like our parents, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you definitely have to listen to other people, you know, because they're potential target, your audience,
Yeah.
the potential customers.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you've got to give them what they want.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
no good to have, you know, again, you know, not all your friends and family, you know, they'll always encourage you, no matter what you want to do. You know,
Yeah.
you've got to try and, you know, sell snow to the Arctic or whatever, you know, oh yeah, it's a great idea, you know, but you've got to test it out with other people.
Absolutely. Oh God, yeah. It's, you know, we're so quick to sort of shade ourselves, shelter ourselves, and protect. But sometimes you just have to let people in to just put another little point on things, another view, and think, oh, actually, yeah, maybe you're right. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure to finally meet you face to face.
Yes.
And I really do wish you all the best
Thank
with
you.
what you're doing and the franchise. Quickly, how can people connect with you? What's your Twitter handle?
The headshot guy.
Perfect. What did I ask? I should have known that.
Just Google the headshot guy,
Yeah.
and you know everything's aligned. You know we've got the .com, the .co.uk.
Yep.
You know the email address is john@theheadshotguy.co.uk.
Okay.
Twitter's at the headshot guy. So just Google the headshot guy.
So whatever you need, the headshot guy. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's been lovely.
And thank you so much to our viewers for joining the Helen Winder Show. You can read more about John and my other guests at www.thehelenwindershow.com. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.